Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm Joel, that's Tifa. This is custom cards with commanders. No, we're not doing custom cards. We're doing casual deck building. This card is a neat one. This is called Cromat. It is Wooburg, one of each color. It is a legend, and it is a creature. It's an old card. The commander is because this is a legendary deck. All the creatures in here are legendary. That's the point. That's the purpose. That's the design. But instead of doing something like Joda, which everybody does, I'm like, I want to do something different. So we got this guy, and this guy's pretty cool because he's got a bunch of abilities. And let's go over those things. So the abilities are 1 white and 1 black. Destroy target creature blocking or blocked by Cromat. Blue and a red. Cromat gains flying until end of turn. Black and a green, regenerate Cromat. Red and a white, Cromat gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And green and a blue, put Cromat on top of its owner's library. So you got a lot of options here. You can pump it a lot, bring it back from the dead, give it flying, kill stuff that blocks or is blocked by it. And if it is going to be destroyed, put it on your library so you don't have to pay commander tax. Good stuff. Love it. Let's get started. Let's go through our legendaries. See what kind of legends we have here today. The Forest. Green. Plaza of Heroes. It is a land that taps for colorless. Or you can tap it for 1 mana of any color. Spend this only to cast a legendary spell. Or tap for 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. Or pay 3 and tap it to exile it, and target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Zatalpa. Primal Dawn, 6 and 2 white. Flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. It's a 4/8. Real simple, real big, real beefy. We love it. Biomantic Mastery, 4 and either 3 green, 3 blue, or any combination of those 3. Draw a card for each creature target player controls. Then draw a card for each creature another target player controls. So if you got a bunch of token peoples, you can draw a bunch of cards. It's great. Mountain. Sword of Fire and Ice, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and blue. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target, and you get to draw a card. 2 equip cost. Peregrine Dynamo, 3 mana. Haste. Pay 1 and tap it. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from another legendary source that's not a commander. You may choose new targets for the copy. It's a 1/5. Piru the Volatile. 2 mana, 2 red, 2 white, and 2 black. That's 8 total. That's a big boy. Flying Lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay a red, a white, and a black. And when it dies, it deals 7 damage to each non-legendary creature. It is a 7/7. That's a crazy one, but worth the fun. We've got Helm of Cauldra, 3 mana cost. Equipped creature has First Strike, Trample, and Haste. And then you can pay 1. If you control equipment named Helm of Cauldra, Sword of Cauldra, and Shield of Cauldra, you create Cauldra, a 4/4 colorless avatar creature token. Attach those equipment to it, or a regular equip cost of 2. Now, there's no Cauldra tokens, so I had to go get some custom ones. It was really annoying, but we figured it out. I'll slide you over a little bit. You guys are... All right. Soul Ring, 1 mana, taps for 2 colorless. Myriad Landscape, enters tapped. Tap for a colorless, or pay 2 and tap it to sacrifice it. Search for 2 basic land cards that share a land type, so 2 white, 2 red, 2 green, 2 blue, or 2 black. Enter the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Fracturing Gust, 2 mana, and then either 3 green, 3 white, or a combination. Instant, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. You gain 2 life for each permanent destroyed this way. Crumbling Necropolis. It enters tapped, and then you can tap it for a blue, black, or red. Spellskite, 2 mana. You can then pay Phyrexian blue, which means you can either pay with a blue mana or 2 life. And then you change the target of a target spell or ability to Spellskite. So if you're going to do something that's like, hey, I'm going to exile your commander. Nope, I'm going to pay 2 life, and I'm going to, instead of letting you exile my commander, you're going to exile Spellskite. Good protection, a lot of fun stuff, and you can use it to steal the benefits of opponents targeting their own creatures and give it to Spellskite. Bassandra, Battle Seraph, 3, a red and a white, flying. Players can't cast spells during combat. That includes you. You can pay a red, target creature attacks this turn if able, meaning you can goad stuff. And it's a 4/4. Beautiful. Path of Ancestry enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And then when that mana is spent to cast a creature that shares a creature type with it, scry 1. I think Legend is a creature type, or it might be a super type. I can't remember, but I think that is a fine if it works, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. I haven't played this deck for some time, so I have to double check. Swamp. Pretty swamp. Hadama's Climb, 1, a green and a blue. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then, if that creature has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, transform Hadana's Climb into add a mana of any color, or you can pay 1, a green and a blue, to tap it, and target creature you control gains flying and +X/+X where until the end of turn, where X is its power. So it doubles its power and gains flying. Good way to swing out and kill some stuff. This is an alternative commander for this type of deck. Sisay, Weatherlight Captain, 2 and a white. Sisay gains +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents you control. So once you get other colors out, you can get her +5/+5. She'll become a 7/7 because she's normally a 2/2, or anywhere in between. And then you can pay Wooburg or 1 of each. Search your library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisay's power. Put that onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Island. Flowering of the White Tree, 2 white. Legendary enchantment. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have ward 1. And then non-legendary creatures get +1/+1. So, good stuff. Forest. We like forests. Ooh, another mountain. Mountains are great. Reliquary Tower. No max hand size. Taps are colorless. Defense of the Heart. 3 colorless and a green. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, you sacrifice Defense of the Heart. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards and put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Good way to get out some expensive boys. Frantic Search, 2 mana and a blue. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, and untap up to 3 lands. Shizo, Death's Storehouse, legendary land. Tap for a black. Pay a black and tap it, and target legendary creature gains fear until end of turn, meaning it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. Tameo, Field Researcher. 1 mana, a green, a white, and a blue. You can +1 her to choose up to 2 target creatures. Until your next turn, whenever either of those creatures deal combat damage, you draw a card. -2, tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. So, stun counter. -7 to draw 3 cards, and you get an emblem. You may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost for loyalty. Timeless Lotus, 5 mana, legendary artifact, enters the battlefield, tapped, but you can tap it for 1 of each color. Guess what you can use that for? Sisay, oh my gosh, synergy. Oh, Shield of Kaldra, 4 mana. I will make my jokes. It's how I get through the day. Equipment names Sword of Kaldra, Shield of Kaldra, and Hem of Kaldra have indestructible. Equipped creature has indestructible. Equip cost 4. Joda the Unifier, 1 of each. Also an alternative commander. Now, he's not the commander. So you can't keep casting them over again. You still get them in once, which could still help because it's, you know, it's built that way. So it's not as bad as some of the other Joda decks I've played against. Oh my goodness. Because remember, this is casual. That's why he's in the 99, not the commander slot. Legendary creatures you control get +X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a legendary non-land card with lesser mana value. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a 5/5. Squirming Emergence. 1, a black and a green. Return to the battlefield target non-land permanent card in your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Okay, we got Kolvori, God of Kinship. 2 and 2 green. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, Kolvori gets +4/+2 and has Vigilance, making her a total of 6/6, because right now she's a 2 and a 4, and then she gets a 4 and 2, so 6/6. Pay 1 and a green and then tap it to look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Forest, we like green. Shadow of a Doubt, either 2 blue, 2 black, or 1 of each. It's an instant. Players can't search their libraries this turn. Draw a card. Way to shut down some tutors or people who want to ramp. It's kind of mean sometimes if they need it really badly. So you want to be hesitant on that. Usually in a more competitive setting, go for it. But if it's more casual and they're behind, I wouldn't do it. If they're doing lands. If they're doing something else, then yeah, go for it. Chromatic Lantern, 3 mana. Lands you control, tap for, add 1 mana of any color. And this itself taps for 1 mana of any color. Takenuma, Abandoned Mire. It's a legendary land, taps for black. Or you can channel it for 3 and a black, meaning it's in your hand, and you do it as a reaction or instant or something. Discard it, and then you mill 3 cards, then return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to the hand. It costs 1 less to cast for each legendary creature you control. Shiny Black, and in Japanese. Ooh. Mox Amber. 0 cost. Add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. Aragorn the Uniter. Red, green, white, blue. Whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, you scry 2. Whenever you cast a red spell, Aragorn deals 3 damage to target opponent. And whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Tried to do a lot of multicolored stuff in here, so that will be fun. Plains. Minamo, School at Water's Edge, legendary land. Tap for a blue. Pay a blue, untap target legendary permanent. Dragon Arch. 5 mana. Pay 2. Tap it. You may put a multicolored creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Look at that. Yasharn Implacable Earth. 2, a green and a white. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic forest card and a basic plains card. Reveal those cards, put them in your hand, shuffle. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. It is a 4/4. Sword of Light and Shadow, 3 mana cost. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and from black. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life and may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. 2 mana to equip. Anduril, Flame of the West, 3 mana, legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+1, and whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. If that creature is legendary, instead create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking. Equip cost 2. Hex Parasite, 1 mana to cost, and then it is an X cost and a black Phyrexian, meaning either a swamp or 2 life, plus however many you want. And then you remove up to X counters from target permanent. For each counter removed this way, Hex Parasite gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Shiny Plains. Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, 5 mana, a white and a black. Legendary sorcery. You may cast a legendary sorcery only if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. Return all legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Good recursion. Animar, Soul of Elements. Green, blue, red. Protection from white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Animar. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Animar. He's a 1/1. I'm thirsty. Give me just a second. Sorry. Tasty. We have a mountain. Collective Restraint, 3 and a blue, enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays X for each creature they control that's attacking you, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So when you get one of each out there, they got to pay 5. Or however many. If you have 3, you have a plains, a forest, and an island, that's 3, so meaning they have to pay 3 per creature. It's pretty good. Shiny Forest. Maelstrom Nexus, 1 of each color. The first spell you cast each turn has Cascade. Cascade is when you cast your first spell. Exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. So if I cast a 5 spell, I have to look for a 4 or lower. You may cast it without paying its mana cost, and then put the rest of the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Jensen Carthalion, Druid Exile, a white and a green. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, scry 1. If that spell was all colors, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Pay 5 to tap it and add 1 of each. So if you don't have the full colors you need, you swap something around. That does it. He's a 2/2. This is also a possible alternative commander. You need more full colors in there to fully benefit from it, but it's enough. Vindicate, 1 white and a black to destroy target permanent. Cyclonic Rift, this is on the Game Changers list. It's 1 and a blue. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Or you can pay 6 and a blue and you get rid of each card you don't control, or each non-land permanent you don't control. There's a board wipe for other people. Cavern of Souls, choose a creature type, add a colorless, add a mana of any color. Spend this only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. Again, legendary is the type. I think it works with Path of Ancestry. If not, then that is unfortunate. Hero's Blade, 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +3/+2. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it, 4 mana equip cost. Reflecting Pool, add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. Myrel, Shield of Argive, 3 and a white. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells, activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Myrel, Shield of Argive, attacks, create X 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. She's a 3/4. Eladamri's Call, a green and a white. Search your library for a creature card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Smothering Tithe, this is on the Game Changers list, 3 and a white. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a treasure token. More mana. Great Hall of the Citadel, tap for a colorless, or you can pay it 1 mana to add 2 mana in any combination, only to cast legendary spells. Kelsine the Plague, red, white, black, vigilance, and haste. Kelsine the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. Kelsine deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. When that creature dies this turn, you get an experience counter. It's a 2/2. Irenicus's Vile Duplication, 3 and a blue. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except that token has flying and is not legendary. Narset in Light Exile. 1 blue, red, white. Creatures you control have prowess. Prowess means whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell or whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, exile target non-creature, non-land card with mana value less than Narset's power from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Dihada, Binder of Wills. 1 red, white, and black. +2, up to 1 target legendary creature gains Vigilance, Lifelink, and Indestructible until your next turn. -3, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand, and the rest go into your graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. Or -11, gain control of all non-land permanents until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. Loyalty 5. Horde of Notions, 1 of each color. Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. 1 of each color. You may play target elemental card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. It's a 5/5. I don't know if I have any other elementals in here. I just got it because it's a 5/5 for 5 with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Like, that's still a really good card, even if you don't have other elementals to come into play. Yeah. Lightning Greaves, 2 mana. Equipment. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. Shroud cannot be the target of spells or abilities. Equip cost 0. Joda, Archmage Eternal. 1 blue, red, white. Flying. You may pay 1 of each color rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. It's a 4/3. Arvad the Cursed. 3, a white, and a black. Death Touch and Lifelink. Other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. Is a 3/3. Shadow in the Warp, 1, a green, and a red. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, Shadow in the Warp deals 2 damage to that player. Obscuring Haze, 2 and a green. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. Plains. Gold Forge Thopteryx, 1 in a blue. Flying Lifelink. Each legendary permanent you control has Ward 2, meaning it takes 2 extra mana to target it. It's a 1/3. Lycia, Sanguine Tribune, 5. Red, white, and black. Lycia, the Tribune, costs 1 less to cast for each 1 life you gain this turn. First Strike and Lifelink. You can pay 5 life to put 3 +1/+1 counters on Lycia. Activate this ability only on your turn and only once each turn. 4/4. Genju of the Realm, 1 of each color. Enchant Land. You can pay 2. Enchanted Land becomes a legendary 8/12 spirit creature with trample until end of turn. It's still a land. When Enchanted Land is put into a graveyard, you may return Genju of the Realm from your graveyard to your hand. You're just slightly in the way there. Okay. Sorry. Scion of Draco, 12 mana. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control. Flying. Each creature you control gains Vigilance if it's white, Hexproof if it's blue, Lifelink if it's black, First Strike if it's red, and Trample if it's green. 4/4. Hunting Grounds, green and a white. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Hunting Grounds has, whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. We have a Japanese mountain. Love it. Sirach Dragonclaw, 2, green, blue, red. Flash. This spell can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Other creatures you control have trample. Is a 6/6. The World Tree. The World Tree enters tapped, and it taps for a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands, lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. And then you can pay 2 of each color for 10 mana to tap and sacrifice, search your library for any number of God cards, put them on the battlefield and shuffle. I don't have God cards in here. It was mostly just for the Chromatic Lantern effect. We got another Captain Sisay, 2, a green and a white. You may tap her and search your library for a legendary card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. She is a 2/2. Bard class, red and a green. Legendary creatures you control enter with the battlefield with an additional 1/1 +1/+1 counter on them. You can upgrade it to level 2 for a red and a green. Legendary spells you cast cost red and a green less to cast. This effect only reduces the amount of colored mana. 3 a red and a green to upgrade to level 3. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. You knew it was coming. Atali Primal Storm, 4 and 2 red. Whenever Atali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana cost. Breach the Multiverse, 5 and 2 black. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature or a planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. Read the Bones, 2 and a black. You scry 2, you draw 2, then you lose 2 life. Island. Chainer, Dementia Master, 3 and 2 black. All nightmares get +1/+1. That one is not really relevant in this one. I eventually will make a nightmare deck. Until then, you can pay 3 black and pay 3 life. Put target creature card from a graveyard into play under your control. That creature is black and is a nightmare in addition to its other creature types. Now that is useful. And then whenever it leaves the game, remove all nightmares from the game. So when it's destroyed or exiled or bounced, when it leaves play, so it leaves the battlefield, remove all nightmares from the game. So you exile anything that you may have brought back. Sword of Kaldra, 4 mana. Equipped creature gets +5/+5. And whenever equipped creature deals damage to a creature, exile that creature. Equip cost 4. The Kaldra set of the sword, the shield, and the helm come together to make Kaldra. That was my idea of making the closest thing to Yu-Gi-Oh! For the summoning of Exodia. Because Exodia, you got to summon the 5 pieces of Exodia and you automatically win. This, you got to summon 3 pieces of Kaldra and you don't automatically win. But you have a really strong, powerful dude that's now just like swinging and crap. So I included that in here because I thought that was a fun combo piece. Shaynid, Sleeper Scourge, 1 red, white, and a black. Menace. Other legendary creatures you control have Menace. Whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and you lose a life. It's a 2/4. Command Tower. Tyrite Sanctum, tap for colorless. Or you can pay 2 to tap legendary creature. It becomes a god in addition to its other types and puts a counter on it. Or you can pay 4 and tap it to sacrifice it and put an indestructible counter on target god. Urza's Ruinous Blast, 4 and a white. You may cast a legendary sorcery only if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. Exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. Mana Drain, 2 blue. Counter target spell at the beginning of your next main phase. Add an amount of colorless equal to the spell's mana value that you countered. Damn, 2 black. Destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Or you can overload for 2 and 2 white, meaning that you change target to each. So you destroy each creature, and they cannot be regenerated. Girid Conclave Exile, 2, a green, a red, and a white. When it enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 green rhino creature token with trample. Whenever Girid attacks, you populate. Then the token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. To populate, create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. It's a 2/5. And finally, Ramos. Dragon Engine is a 6 cost. Legendary artifact, creature dragon. Flying. Whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's color. Remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos and add 2 of each color or 10 mana. Only activate once each turn, and it is a 4/4. So there you have it. You got a casual Cromat with the casual legendaries. A lot easier to deal with certain people not being the commander. And yeah, I played this once or twice. I need to play this a little bit more, work out some of the kinks if there is any, but it is fun. I have enjoyed it, and hopefully you think it is neat as well, or at least go get yourself a Cromat. Cromat's awesome. Like, look at all the stuff that Cromat can do. It's beautiful. He needs love. He needs friends. He's a good boy. Go adopt a Cromat today. Anyway, that'll do it for today. Hope you guys had a good time, and we will catch you later.